today I just wanted to introduce my colleague James Lees and talk about this really lovely silver tea service which is in our sale on Thursday the 20th of October this week. James, tell me a bit about it.
Thanks, Nicky. I've known this tea set for quite a while. It belongs to a client of mine, and this tea set is quite poignant actually, given the death of Her Majesty, the recent death of Her Majesty. This is one of a model. This is a later production, but this was the same model that was actually produced and given by. It was commissioned from AD Brothers in Birmingham, and it was commissioned by the people of Birmingham, and they gave it to Queen Elizabeth II on her wedding. So nothing. It's just all extremely high quality. I mean, AD Brothers are sort of premier 20th century makers, but just when you feel the weight of it and that lid. I mean, the lid is just. And the engineering that's gone into it. Normally, a lid on a sucre. Well, first of all, you don't normally get lids on sucres. But the lid, if you look, it actually locates into there, so it only fits one way. See, and it fits beautifully. Nothing is, well, as you can imagine, if you're giving something to a monarch, it's going to be of the very highest quality.
But it is a remake of an earlier shape, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah, it is indeed. It's a remake of an 18th century model. This is actually later than the Royal Wedding. This is 1958, I believe. But as you can imagine, though, this particular model wouldn't have been for resale originally because it would have been too expensive.
Absolutely.
It would have. I mean, when you look at it, you can see the engraving here, the handle sockets, and they've got little scrolls and shells, and these little details here where it's been, all the punch work on this leaf on the end of the spout. It would be, I think it's fair to say, beyond the realms of most pockets. So it would have been a very, very, and just the gauge of the thing is immense. But it was public subscription. It was given by this model, not this one, but this model was given by the city of Birmingham to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on her marriage, and this is a later retake of that pattern. But they couldn't,
with the facsimile letter as
with
well.
a facsimile letter. This has been has been in private ownership for many years. I've known this for probably the last 30 years.
But it really shows the quality of workmanship that's involved and has evolved over the years.
Yeah.
And Birmingham being one of the sort of premier manufacturing places. Yeah. And I just love the whole sort of weight, feel, but equally the balance.
Yes.
The balance of the pieces is really quite important. And also to have the sucre cover, and then you've got, would that be a slop bowl?
I think it's probably too short. I think this is probably for cube.
Yes.
And this is for granulated.
Ah, very good, very good.
So you see, covered for granulated because the last thing you want to do is to get moisture in there. And the only thing, I've got to say this, the only thing I'm surprised at, given the extreme quality of it, is that it's not fire gilt on the interior.
Yes, I do see that, yes.
Which, if you're pouring cream, although there's signs of some fire gilding, but it doesn't appear to have ever been cleaned. When I unpacked it, it was still in. It was still in the polythene that it no doubt came in.
But also you can see the definition of those hallmarks. It really hasn't been cleaned or worn in any way, and the whole crispness of the decoration.
Yeah.
But it's a lovely story.
Yeah, I mean, the gentleman who owns it is actually of royal descent. And as I say, I've known this for a good many years. And the gentleman quite rightly said, well, if not now, given that all things royal have been brought sadly and sharply into focus by the demise of Her Majesty. So you know it's probably the best time to actually sell it now. But it's never been used. Just that, but then again, you know, I think the fact is that it's Birmingham, because if you can work in copper and brass, you can work in silver. So, okay, it's a more expensive material. The malleability is similar, and you've got the years and years and years of skills in the hands of the native workers of Birmingham, and it comes to it blossoms here, because you know what you've got here is you've got flat chasing, which in itself is an immense skill. And you can't use flat. You can only use flat chasing on a certain gauge of material, which this is, because if the material is too thin, then you go straight through it. And it just gives the most. And you've got all sorts of different disciplines on here. You know, they've used matting punches. You can see where here, on these little ribs here, you can see that actually these have been cut by hand, because you can see there's a slight deviation in them. So it wouldn't have been something. It wouldn't have been something that's been bish bash bosh, knocked out quickly on a fly press and then silver soldered together or die stamped. You know, this has been properly done, probably by only a couple of craftsmen.
Made with love.
Yeah.
And actually beautiful objects in their own right. There's no need really to use it. I would just look at it.
Yeah.
Because I love the shape.
I believe, and I could be wrong here, but I believe that there was a cabinet that accompanied this particular model, and when it was gifted to Her Majesty, there was actually a cabinet which went along with it, a display cabinet, but we don't have the display cabinet.
No.
This is what we have. And this is a facsimile letter. It would have been nice if it had been the original letter, but you know, it is what it is.
Those auto pens are brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. You can see I've done it in crayon.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we hope that this lovely tea service goes and finds a new home with someone who loves it and appreciates it.
It's a fairly unique opportunity, really.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Thank you very much, James.
Thank you. Thanks, Nicky.